did that one last.
Yeah, you did that
that
on
one?
Monday. Yep.
Alright, well, I'm back again. Alright, bitches?
You only get one.
Alright.
Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one. I get two. Because I had to miss SmackDown last night because I was ill. I'm still ill, but I'm not as ill as yesterday.
You ain't bedridden sick.
No. Man, I was a miserable fuck last night. But yeah, here we are, midweek wrap-up time. NXT from Japan.
Yeah. Impromptu NXT takeover.
And Lucha Underground from the Temple, as per usual.
Yeah. But yeah, NXT was kind of it was like hey, we're going to do a whole show in Japan, which explains why we haven't had so very many matches from Full Sail as of late.
Yeah.
Though this wasn't takeover level.
No.
The matches were all really good, but some of them were extremely predictable.
Yeah, well.
And the main event we had already seen. So we're not really...
That was the one weird part for me. Was the fact that they redid the match that they showed us like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And so I think we might end up getting the cage match next week.
Probably.
And so we probably won't talk about that either, because we already talked about that like last week. But anyway, we open up with ONeil Lorcan versus Andrade Cien Almas.
Man, them Japanese folk like themselves some ONeil Lorcan.
ONeil Lorcan is over AF in Japan.
Yeah.
And this was probably...
It's Lorcan pretty good over there.
You son of a bitch. This was a pretty good match, though. I enjoyed what the two of them did out there.
Yeah.
And it was the only match that, to me, was surprising in any way.
Well,
all the rest of them were pretty like, okay, yeah, we kind of figured that was going to happen.
There were 2 title matches, so...
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Actually, 3 title matches,
yeah,
including the main event, but of the ones we're going to talk about, yeah. But, yeah, ONeil Lorcan, he was on his usual physical, I'm just going to beat the hell out of you as many ways as I possibly can kind of shtick.
Yeah.
With some good technical wrestling in there as well. Andrade getting some... is still very respected in Japan, but still good at getting the heat as well.
Yeah.
But the most surprising part is we had Andrade go up to the top, and he was getting ready to hit moonsault or something, and Lorcan actually stopped him, and then went up to the top rope. They kind of like battled for a little bit, and then Lorcan hit a inverted exploder suplex from the top rope and beat Andrade Cien Almas. So ONeil Lorcan, especially in the timeline of NXT, just last week Andrade was a contender to possibly go and face Shinsuke Nakamura for the championship.
Yeah. And
now ONeil Lorcan is getting a televised win over said person. So that's a good step in the right direction for ONeil Lorcan.
Yeah. Things are lorking up for him.
Oh my god.
He only needs one more win to get into contendership.
I can't handle the pun right now. I can't.
You sick of him already?
You son of a bitch. Moving on, we had a women's tag team match where Liv Morgan and Aaliyah teamed up to take on Peyton Royce and Billie Kay.
2 small girls versus 2 tall girls.
Yeah. 2 Australians versus... I don't know where Aaliyah's from.
Canada, actually.
And she's from Toronto. And then a girl from New Jersey, which Corey Graves just continued to shit on throughout the entire match because Dario wasn't in the match.
Yeah, no Dario Baronato there, so...
this match was alright.
Jersey's open game.
This definitely wasn't the best out of these 4 women, I think.
No.
I do like watching Billie and Peyton do tag team moves, though. They make a really good tag team. And so, to watch them is fun. There were a couple little flubs in there, but nothing too major. It was just Liv and Aaliyah don't make the most cohesive tag team. I think was probably the biggest detriment to their side.
Yeah.
We had Peyton Royce ended up taking out Aaliyah. I think she hit like a big spin kick on her and knocked her off of the apron. And then Liv Morgan ended up getting that running bulldog onto the knee of Billie Kay. And Billie Kay and Peyton Royce pick up the win. And then we get into
championship territory.
We kind of know where this is going territory as well.
Because it was not reported that any of the titles changed hands.
Yeah.
With the exception of, like, 2 weeks ago, we saw that Nakamura regained the championship from Samoa Joe.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was our main event. So we knew where that was going. But then DIY... This was a match we were looking forward to.
I was really looking forward to this one.
DIY defending the NXT Tag Team titles against Akira Tozawa and Tajiri, who will be making his debut on 205 Live next week. We might even see Tozawa next week.
Let me tell you, I was not disappointed from this match.
Yeah, it's, despite the... I kind of know where they're going here. I know it's going to end with DIY retaining. It was still a great match.
Yeah.
Tajiri still looks fantastic when he's in the ring.
I felt like in this match, he was moving a lot quicker than he did during the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah?
Yeah, I felt like his movements were a little quicker, maybe a little more smooth.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because he's been spending time conditioning himself, getting ready to get back into, like, the regular time swing of things, going for 205 Live.
Yeah. I appreciated his first kind of face-off with Ciampa, where the commentators made a note of it, is that Tajiri was just so stoic and was just kind of, like, really focused on everything as him and Ciampa were doing hammerlocks and arm ringers and just all kinds of stuff. Like, he didn't show a lot of emotion. He was just, like, thinking, you could almost see the wheels turning in his head.
Yeah.
And then just before that, we had the awesome face-off between Johnny Gargano and Akira Tozawa, who have been wrestling each other for years at this point. And yeah, there's just a lot of really good stuff from both sides. Obviously, you have the favoritism for Tozawa and Tajiri because they're in Japan. The crowd was super over for Akira Tozawa.
Yeah.
Actually calling out his suplex that he did on
the Brain
Ciampa.
Buster.
Yeah. The whole crowd, they knew exactly what was happening. They knew what to say, when to say it. And Ciampa almost reversed it, but Akira Tozawa ended up hitting it. And yeah, Tajiri pulling out all of it. He did the little like fake out with the mist. He did the tarantula. Hit a buzzsaw kick. He was doing all of his stuff. But DIY, of course, retaining the tag team titles. Ciampa ends up throwing a knee to Tajiri, knocks him onto the apron, and then Akira Tozawa gets hit with the running knee and super kick combo. And DIY are still your tag team champions.
Which I think has a new unofficial name. The double team move from DIY.
Oh, really?
Meeting in the middle.
Oh, I like that. It's a good name. Did Corey say that, or?
I think it was actually Phillips.
Oh, good job, Tom. Felipe.
Felipe Thomas Dean. You stupid idiot.
And then we went to a match that we've seen before. Asuka defending the NXT Women's Championship against Nia Jax from Monday Night Raw. It was a great match for Nia Jax.
Yeah.
This is something that she needs something like this on Raw to really get her over. So maybe when her and Sasha finally have their first actual match in the storyline that they're building, we can get something like this out of Nia on Raw. But yeah, her and Asuka, it's the two most dominant women that have been in NXT facing off against each other.
Yeah.
And it's just, both of them can take a fucking hit, both of them can dish it out, and, Nia probably got fed up with all those backfists she was eating.
Yeah.
But, Asuka doesn't give a fuck. She's just going to keep throwing them.
Yeah. Nia had a huge power bomb.
Yeah.
Leg dropped her on the head. It was a pretty good fight from both sides.
Yeah. And then, it ended, I believe this is the exact ending that we had with their first championship match.
Pretty much.
I don't think we had the German suplex, which was
No,
awesome.
that was cool. But like the whole story of the match going through is like Nia Jax is just too big for Asuka to lock the Asuka lock on.
Yeah, she can't do submissions on someone that's as big as Nia Jax.
So she has to rely on just trying to like knock her out.
Yeah, and I still like this moment when after that German suplex, Nia kind of rolls over onto one knee and she's faced off with Asuka and she just lets out that really loud scream, and then Asuka's like, "Fuck you, shut up," and like kicks her in the side of the head. Buzzsaw kick, puts down Nia Jax, and of course, Asuka is still your NXT Women's Champion. And then, man, I thought Samoa Joe had this one, but Shinsuke took the title back.
Wow, shocker.
Go figure.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah. And, yeah, so we'll probably see the cage match next week, because next week we're getting a full NXT show from Australia.
Oh, where they had the cage match.
Yeah, where Samoa Joe looks to take back the championship from Shinsuke, who won it in Japan.
Oh, he's got it in the bag.
Yeah, totally. We're also going to have Bobby Roode and Elias Sampson versus Buddy Murphy and Ty Dillinger. That's a pretty awesome team. Buddy Murphy and Ty Dillinger, I'm cool with that. We have triple threat women's action as Liv Morgan takes on Ember Moon, and they both take on Billie Kay. And then we also have DIY defending the tag team titles against TM61. Go figure, there's an Australian in every single match.
Yeah, little do we know the cage is actually Australian.
What?
It's an Australian cage.
Well, what's different between like an Australian cage? Do they put it together backwards?
No.
No?
No, just when you hit it, it clangs in an accent.
Alright. I'll take it. Sure. Let's move on to Lucha Underground. We open up with Prince Puma pledging himself to Zombie Vampiro.
Yeah.
I think they possibly got married.
He said I do.
He did. Yeah. And then he disappeared, which was kind of cool.
They both did.
Yeah, they both did. Weird. Does that happen when you get married? Do both people just disappear?
If one of them is Zombie Vampiro and the other one's a luchador, yes.
Only if it's that combination.
Yep.
But our first match...
And the luchador has to throw a backflip in there, too.
Our first match, we found out last week Jeremiah Crane asked for a match against Mil Muertes because he's still trying to get at Katrina. Yep. And Mil Muertes just beats the fuck out of Jeremiah Crane.
Yeah, Crane comes in with two big pump kicks right at the onset of the match, and then he runs off the ropes, and Muertes like shoulder blocks him so hard. He lands like directly onto the back of his head.
Oh.
And from then on out, it's just like Muertes gets to beat the shit out of this like tiny ragdoll man.
Yeah, it's a massacre. But we know that Prince Puma, the reason he's pledged himself to Vampiro is Vampiro's trying to get him to get back at Mil Muertes. And then after the Grave Consequences match a couple weeks ago, obviously Prince Puma's coming for him. So Prince Puma shows up just as Jeremiah Crane's about to hit a flatliner. Or eat a flatliner.
Yeah, Mil Muertes is going to hit the flatliner.
Yeah, and it was such a quick moment that I didn't realize Katrina jumped up on the other side to let the referee know that Puma was there, so that distracted the referee. So the referee never actually saw the kendo stick that hit Mil Muertes in the back, and then Jeremiah Crane ends up hitting another one of those pump kicks and actually beats Mil Muertes, and then Prince Puma beats the fuck out of Mil Muertes with the kendo stick, and then we have the kneeling to Vampiro, which kind of freaked out Matt Striker.
Yeah.
He was just like, he usually does that in the middle of the ring, but now he's, what the fuck? Like, they even had like kind of a discussion at ringside, and like, first Vampiro just didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, Vampiro was like being like real awkward about the whole thing after it happened.
Yeah, he's like totally cool. He's got like a smile on his face when it's happening. And then afterwards, he's like, "Nah, man, I don't want to get into it. It's just it's a personal situation. I don't want to deal with it." We had like 3 different levels of Vampiro. We had zombie, we had hipster, and then we had like emo. There's just so many. The 3 faces of Vampiro.
Then we had Fonzie Vampiro.
Yeah, a little later. Oh, hey.
Bada boom.
we had Sexy Star in the back who was I'm guessing in the middle of or starting to get into a workout routine, and she was stopped by Diet Johnny Mundo,
AKA a guy who looks like 1996 Steven Richards,
who was straight up a Johnny Mundo fanboy. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry you couldn't beat Johnny, but I mean, come on, he's like the best. So
he's even wearing like a mock-up Worldwide Underground headband.
Yeah, he looks like someone who just wants to be Johnny Mundo.
1997 Steven Richards cosplaying as Johnny Mundo.
But for some reason, not only is he just some random dude
walking around the temple
who's a fanboy.
Well, remember, the doors of the temple are always open.
True. But,
which poses some security risks.
But apparently he's also the mailman?
He's a messenger.
Because
somebody gave him a box to give to Sexy Star.
Yeah. And so Sexy Star's like, well, what is it? He's like, I don't know. Maybe it's from a fan. Or maybe it's from a secret admirer.
Or maybe it's from a secret admirer who is a fan.
And so he ends up walking away, and Sexy Star, of course, opens the box with the ransom note tag on it.
Yeah, it's like every letter of her name is cut out from a different magazine clipping.
It's the sketchiest looking, like, here's a present for you. She opens up, it's a goddamn spider. And then she even, like...
It's the sketchiest goddamn looking spider.
And, like, she freaks out. She's like, ah! She had, like, the most intense scream
and then she, like, punches the box.
She, like, kills the spider. And then she, like, we saw her later, she goes to Dario Cueto, who's looking in that giant, like, box thing. And she's like...
The glowy chest.
She's like, I want Mariposa. And he's like, in another No Mas match? She's like, no, a good old-fashioned beating. And Dario's like, all right, fine, you got it. So that might be next week, we're not sure. Also next week, we might be getting the title match between...
I'm pretty sure.
They didn't actually say that it was a title match, but it is the Mac versus Johnny Mundo next week. And we also had Texano, who was working out in a different part of the temple, was approached by Famous B because Texano is going into match number 4 of the Best of 5 series with Cage.
And he needs to get famous.
Yeah, Famous B's like, people like Cage more than you. They can't connect to you. They don't like you as much. And
because you ain't famous.
He's like, well, maybe they'll like me more if I beat your ass. He's like, whoa. Maybe I'm being pushy. But he's like, just think about it. And then Brenda's like trying to flirt with him, and his tie says 423 get fame.
And so does the text on the screen when he says it.
It's like fucking Juan Francisco subtitles in Jakarta. It's just... It doesn't need to be there, but it is, and it's funny.
And it makes it better for it.
So yeah, so Texano's like given the ultimatum, like, hey, think about it. Maybe I can go out there and I can help you win this thing, and then you'll get famous. So Texano doesn't really give a shit, but Famous B's into it. Before we get to that match, we had the Worldwide Underground taking on the reunited Team Dysfunction, Son of Havoc, and Angelico. And this match was fantastic.
Until
it
was PJ Black hit springboard 450 splash on Angelico.
Well, and it was after Angelico did like this weird little like
he did a springboard.
Did like a springboard kick that he like it looked like he like dislocated his elbow like pushing up off because he had like a really weird like vault over the rope.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what it was, but he hit it wrong and then like rolled over and then got hit with a move, and then it was just the end of the match. We had Angelico over on the side of the ring holding his elbow.
Yeah, he dislocated his elbow.
And
there was at one point where like he's rolling off the apron and you could see that his arm isn't fully connected.
Oof.
It's kind of weird, like his like if you can see here, like his elbow was like sticking out further back this way.
Yeah, so Marty Elias ends up throwing up the X, and then we get
This is gonna give it to you.
Then we get Son of Havoc ends up getting hit with a Phoenix Splash by Jack Evans, and the Worldwide Underground picks up the tag team win. And then we go to match 4 of the Best of 5 series, which ends real fast.
Yeah, it was the fastest one out of all of them so far.
Which, it made sense because Cage got run into an exposed turnbuckle, was busted open.
Yeah.
And Texano hit him with the sit-out powerbomb and it tied up the series 2-2. And Dario comes out and says, "Hey, I'm sure I know you're all enjoying this best of 5 series because it's really freaking awesome." He's so proud of everything he puts together. And he's like, and that's exactly why we're not gonna wait. We're gonna have the finals right now.
And it's anything goes.
Oh shit! Ring the bell! And yeah, so Cage, who's already fucked up at this point, just half of his face covered in blood. Him and Texano proceed to just fucking demolish each other.
Yeah, they're all up and down the crowd, like through the crowd, like tons of bumps on the bleachers.
Yeah, no, there was
which had to be Sucktown, USA.
There was a suplex, there was a spine buster, and there was some shit that I would not want to do in the bleachers as far as wrestling is concerned.
Yeah, and there's they used some chairs. They used whatever that can thing that's out at the
I'm
ringside.
pretty sure it's like a really, really old water cooler.
Or a spittoon.
Maybe. Texano is the Mexican cowboy, or the what is it, the blue collar brawler or whatever? Yeah. The chair they used, Cage got the first couple shots, and then Cage got it and broke it over Texano's head. They both used the bull rope. Yeah,
they teased Cage was gonna superplex Texano out of the crowd.
Yeah, off of the railing on one side, and Texano's like, "Fuck that shit." Just knocked Cage out.
Yeah, man, Texano, don't be a pussy. Take the bump.
Cage took it. It was both of them just getting all of their shit in and making it fucking count.
It's Cage's best kind of match.
Cage ended up taking the chair bump. He rolled through the wooden chairs on the outside. It was just,
they all had all their signature stuffs.
Yeah,
they all kept kicking out at bullshit.
Yeah, they weren't letting none of that shit put them down.
And then Cage decided that I'm just gonna pick him up straight vertical over my head and then drop him on his dome.
Yeah, no,
between my legs.
I was calling for a goddamn jackhammer, and he turned it into a pile driver.
Yeah.
And Texano there's no way he's getting up from that. Cage wins.
Texano's no neck was broken.
So Cage ends up winning the best of 5 series, 3-2, and Dario comes out and says, "Congratulations! I'm sure you want your unique opportunity." And he's like, "Yeah, of course I do." And he's like, "Well, I don't want to give it to you in front of all the believers here, so come into my office and come get your prize."
'Cause it's a blowjob.
Yeah, no, it sounded like Dario was just like, "Hey."
Or illicit drugs.
Dario was like, "I just wanted to watch 2 sweaty men beat the shit out of each other so I could decide which one was going to give me a blowjob."
You win. Here's a pound of cocaine.
And my dick.
Covered in cocaine.
Oh, man. So Cage goes in, and this is how we finish the show off. Is Cage is like, "All right, I won. What do I get?" And he points to the box and goes, "The hell is that?" It's like,
"Benjamin, it's the box."
He's like, no, it's what's in the box. And then he takes the lid off, and it sounds like a big metal door opening. He's like. And he's like...
Well, what gets me is, every time we've seen Dario look inside this thing, the lid opens like this. And, he, looks in and peeks in, but this time the whole lid just came off.
Yeah, and it didn't glow.
This is the first time it didn't actually glow.
The glowy bit was broken this time around.
We find out that it's the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, he wants to make Cage Thanos. And Cage doesn't want to be Thanos. And Dario's like, "Well, hey, we paid for this prop. You need to wear it at least once."
Cage is like, "All right, I'll give it a pity fisting." Shoves his hand in it, and all of a sudden he becomes right-handed Raiden.
Yeah. And then he lifts Dario up by his neck. He's like, "You know what? On second thought, I think I'll keep it." And then he drops Dario and walks away with his Dr. Doom hand. And Dario seemed pretty proud of himself as we heard like the thunderstorm start happening outside. So yeah, Cage is now going to be as if he wasn't already a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Now he has a magical Raiden gauntlet that's gonna have him causing all kinds of fuckery in the temple. And now we're gonna get an all-out war. So we'll see where this ends up going.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for Lucha Underground.
And NXT.
Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe.
Click all the social media links. Follow us there.
There are a lot of those down there.
Check out all the reviews weekly on SoundCloud in podcast form.
Yeah, but you know what? We got a couple of them that you can't see, or you don't see them in podcast form, but you don't hear them in podcast form either. Because our prediction videos, our pay-per-view reviews, and our top 5 videos are never there.
Yeah.
You have to check them out over here on the YouTube.
And since this weekend will be the end of 2016, we got a couple of extra videos that we're going to be doing probably next week to give our favorites and our least favorite things of the year. And you only get that video form as well, plus all the extra stuff that you can find over on Reasonable Wrestling Fans.
Yeah, it's reasonable with a W.
Like wrestling. Unboxing videos, ranting videos. You get all kinds of YouTube-y stuff over there. So check that out. Check out the videos over here. Check out the podcast. Thanks for watching or listening. And we'll see you, or you'll hear us, on whatever you decide to watch or listen to next. Made that way more confusing than it needed to be.
Well done.
Fuck yeah.
Fifth pun.